Welcome back to Front Page. And as promised, the big exclusive on Front Page. Cerebras's record $1.1 billion raise positions India as a strategic hub for energy-efficient sovereign AI infrastructure, aligning with the country's push to build next-generation compute under the India AI mission. Just a few days ago on Front Page, we broke down why Cerebras's $1.1 billion funding round isn't just another capital raise. It's the beginning of a new AI infrastructure era, one where power, silicon, and sovereignty decide who wins the AI race. And today, we are going deeper because this isn't just about America's chip wars, this is about India. And Cerebras has just placed a big bet on its future. Cerebras, the company behind the world's largest chip, has raised $1.1 billion at an $8.1 billion valuation. It's the single largest private funding round in AI infrastructure this year. But more than the number, it's actually the timing that matters. As the world faces a global GPU crunch and soaring AI energy bills, Cerebras is saying this: the future won't run on GPUs alone, end quote. Instead, it's betting on wafer-scale silicon, a chip the size of an iPad, with 850,000 cores, no interconnect bottlenecks, and a radical promise, which is run frontier models faster, cheaper, and with far less power. Cerebras isn't trying to outtrain NVIDIA, it's actually going after inference, the real bottleneck of AI and agentic AI adoption. While everyone else strings together massive GPU clusters, Cerebras is simplifying the stack, letting AI companies scale without the CUDA lock-in. And in an era where energy bills are up 60%, efficiency is not just nice to have, it is actually survival. And here's the interesting bit. Across the world, governments are racing to build sovereign AI infrastructure, and few countries are better positioned than India. Well, with its India AI mission, sovereign cloud movement, and a developer base larger than the population of many countries, India is uniquely primed for this transition. And Cerebras, well, is already here with a team in Bengaluru and Hyderabad and an eye on the next big leap: energy efficient sovereign compute. Because, as Zoho's Sridhar Vembu put it, this is what he said: even if India can afford the GPUs, it can't afford the energy bill, end quote. That's exactly where Cerebras fits in perfectly. Sovereign compute is no longer an idea, it's actually a race. From the United States and Middle East to Japan, UAE, and now India, countries want AI stacks that don't depend on foreign hyperscalers or power-hungry GPU farms. And with its wafer-scale clusters that can actually run off renewable microgrids, Cerebras is building the compute backbone of that future. And of course, joining us today on Front Page to talk about the journey ahead is Andrew Feldman, CEO and co-founder of Cerebras, one of the sharpest minds in the chip industry and the architect of this very bold bet. Andrew has spent his career pushing the limits of compute, first at C Micro, which AMD acquired for $357 million, and now at Cerebras, where he's leading the charge into the post-GPU world. We are going to talk about the $1.1 billion raise, the AI infrastructure power shift, and why India is suddenly a central player in this global race. Welcome to the show, Andrew. A true pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
All right, so Andrew, there is a lot to discuss. So right off the bat, the $1.1 billion raise, Cerebras actually recently raised that much money at $8.1 billion valuation, marking one of the largest capital infusions in the AI hardware space. First of all, congratulations on that. The next
Thank
point
you.
is, what's the strategic thinking behind this rise? How do you plan to deploy this capital across research and development, global expansion, and customer scaling?
Well, look, I think a raise of this size from a caliber of investor of this kind, right? We raised a billion one. The round was led by Fidelity, one of the great public market investors in the world. Um, I think that allowed us to think about a global expansion. It allowed us to accelerate our manufacturing plan. It allowed us to double down on some of the most innovative
Mm-hmm.
uh, engineering programs we have, and to expand into areas that we aren't. We don't have a big business in Southeast Asia, and we now can afford to not only go there, but to build data centers there. We have in India an engineering organization of about 100 people. We're looking to double or triple that over the course of 2026. So it puts us in a good position to take advantage of the extraordinary opportunity in front of us.
Wonderful. So that means there is a lot on the horizon. The wafer scale advantage, Andrew. While NVIDIA dominates with GPU clusters, Cerebras is actually betting on wafer scale compute, a single chip the size of a dinner plate. Well, holding 850,000 cores and vast static random access memory. This reduces interconnect latency and simplifies scaling for large model inference. Cerebras claims its wafer scale architecture can deliver lower tail latency and higher efficiency for frontier inference. I would like, Andrew, for you to maybe break down where wafer scale beats GPU clusters, say, let's say in cost per token, power efficiency, or throughput, and where do GPUs still hold an edge?
Sure. Let me show you. This is our chip, right? It's the size of a
Nice,
dinner. And
nice.
traditionally, chips are the size of a postage stamp.
Hmm.
And in order to do AI work, one needs to string together hundreds or thousands of these chips. And when you
Mm-hmm.
string together chips, you add latency, you
Yep.
use extra power, excuse me, you add complexity. What we're able to do is by building a bigger chip, and this was the largest chip in the history of the compute industry. We were
Wow.
able to keep more information on the chip. We
Hmm.
were able to process it more quickly. We
Hmm.
were able to move it less often, therefore using less power. And therefore, we were able to provide answers in much less time. And
Right.
so, compared to traditional GPUs, compared to, say, the NVIDIA B200, we're 20
Hmm.
times faster. So, where we focus is on those workloads, those
Hmm.
AI applications where speed matters,
Hmm.
right? So, agentic work,
Right.
reasoning work, where you have a real time component, where you're engaged with your customer.
Hmm.
And nobody wants to wait 40 seconds or 4 minutes or 7 minutes to get an answer,
True.
right? AI becomes exciting when the response is real time. Now,
Hmm.
there are some applications that don't care about speed. If you're generating data for training, called
Hmm.
synthetic data generation, that's going to be great at because
Hmm.
it's slow. But anywhere that speed matters, anywhere that customer experience matters, we have built the fastest solution, not by one or two or five, but by 20x.
Wow. So, Andrew, if I understood that correctly, the edge probably, as far as the GPUs are concerned, will still be probably where you do not require speed. Am I correct on that?
That is correct.
Fair enough. And for the rest, that is where Cerebras comes in a big way. As far as
That's correct. That's the fastest growing part of the market, right? Every one of the leading state of the art models is a
Mhm,
reasoning model.
true.
Every one of them uses a huge amount of compute during inference. And every one of them benefits from an acceleration that Cerebras can provide.
Wonderful. So essentially, it's game changing. The lock-in aspect, Andrew, lock-in
Sure.
software remains the real moat. For developers tied to CUDA, moving to alternative inference stacks has been, well, painful. Cerebras' approach with standardized runtimes, loaders, and KV cache formats promises to make that migration, well, nearly frictionless. So the
Right.
point is, Andrew, what has Cerebras done to make inference portability truly 10 keystrokes simple? And can you share an example where, for example, a customer shifted from GPU to Cerebras systems in days, not months, and the real world performance delta they saw? It would be wonderful for you to maybe give us a use case for all our viewers.
Sure. We can give you hundreds of examples of where they shift in minutes, not days.
Wow. And we have
And
all the time, Andrew.
we have, let's look at a customer like AlphaSense. AlphaSense is one of the leading financial data delivery platforms. They were running on GPUs. Uh, their, uh, their time to answer
Mhm,
was order 25 or 30 seconds. So their customers sat after they made a query
mhm,
for 30 seconds while the NVIDIA GPUs were slowly cranking through data.
mhm.
We were able to bring that to sub 1 second.
Wow.
And they were able to move in 20 minutes. And almost all of that time was on their side, on the pointing the data pipeline
Mhm,
at the new API. The way you move quickly
mhm,
and disintermediate CUDA is through the use of an API.
mhm,
I don't think most of the application developers uh, anywhere in the world want anything to do with CUDA.
mhm,
If they write for ML or AI, they usually write in PyTorch. And when they want inference, what they want to do is they want to bolt on to an API.
mhm,
In the same way, if you write a shopping app,
mhm.
you want to bolt on to a shopping cart and you just use a few keystrokes to get to Stripe.
Sure.
Right now, it's that easy to get onto the Cerebras cloud and to benefit from our extraordinary speed. A few keystrokes, about 10, uh, to move from GPU solution in your cloud to the Cerebras solution in our cloud.
Andrew, that is fascinating. I mean, that truly is fascinating. It's like grease lightning, which obviously
It is
brings me to this.
like right
It
now,
is.
if you want to use an API, if you want to use
Mhm,
something like OpenAI's API, and
mhm,
OpenAI is served primarily on NVIDIA GPUs through Azure. You type something like get OpenAI API,
mhm,
and then you specify the model.
mhm.
To move from that, all you do is type get Cerebras underscore API, and then you type the model name. That's it. It's
Wow.
literally 10 keystrokes.
Wow. Fascinating. Which, of course, brings me to this, the data center race. AI demand is actually exploding, as we already know, Andrew, but infrastructure capacity, especially power and cooling, isn't catching up. Many companies have actually megawatt scale plans but face permitting and grid outlay issues. Cerebras says power exists often in the wrong places. How is Cerebras choosing its next data center sites and balancing the tension between low cost energy, sovereignty demands, and customer proximity? Can decentralized modular wafer scale clusters become the new blueprint, Andrew, for inference build-outs?
That's a really good question. And what I was asked about whether the US in particular had enough power,
Mm-hmm.
the answer is we have plenty of power, but it's in places where we don't have data centers.
Hmm.
And so it's in rural areas where we have neither data centers nor the fiber optic infrastructure to move data to and
Hmm.
from the data center. Now, there are parts of the U.S. where this is changing. There are parts like in West Texas that had a ton of oil and natural gas, but no telco infrastructure. There are parts of North America where this is changing, where in Canada, they have a great deal of hydro. There's locations in Finland and in Iceland where they have geo energy. There are parts of the world that don't have traditional energy sources that are expanding and putting down nuclear, like the UAE. I think India has an opportunity because their talent density is so high, and they have an opportunity. I think they have fewer of these large data centers currently, but we know they have an extraordinary telco infrastructure, particularly on the cellular side, and they have great companies who are well capitalized who can build data centers. And I know many of them are because we're in conversations with them. We would love to have a data center, not just one, but several in India. I think you're right. Local regulations are sometimes challenging, but I think what people want is security, that their data is governed by the laws that they help vote in. Number one, I think they want the responses to their AI queries blisteringly fast, and they want a reasonable price. And I think that can certainly be achieved in on the subcontinent. It can be achieved in most parts of the world. And so I think that is the exciting area for build out right now are these massive data centers.
You know, Andrew, you brought a smile to everyone's face here when you said that you're looking at data centers, you're building it up, of course, which brings me to this question, which is the exciting and the encouraging aspect as far as India's energy reality and AI infrastructure dilemma. In the West, data center growth is driving power shortages. As Zohar Sridhar Vembu pointed out, electricity bills in parts of the US are up 60% due to AI driven demand. India, meanwhile, actually faces the opposite challenge. It's trying to build AI scale infrastructure without destabilizing its energy grid or affordability for citizens. India's AI push is constrained not just by compute scarcity, Andrew, but by power economics. Do you think India can leapfrog the GPU centric model altogether by building more energy efficient architectures, perhaps wafer scale or edge first systems? How does Cerebras view India in that context? You've
Look,
already mentioned you want to build a data center,
I
but of
think
course, we want to hear more.
I think necessity is the mother of invention for sure. And I think there are no greater entrepreneurs, no more creative engineers than in India. This is a challenge. And the additional point I will add to when power is in the wrong location, power is very expensive to move, right? It degrades. And so what you're the challenges of India are around its power infrastructure and its water, because many of these data centers are water cooled, is a real challenge. And I do not recommend for India, and you know I'm no industrial planner. Many people who know more about urban planning than I do, but data centers in India need to be behind the grid, behind the meter, not on the grid. And that way they don't disturb the existing power delivery. Where we've had problems in the US, people have put data centers on the grid and they've pulled power that would otherwise be used for homes. And that creates scarcity and that drives the price up. The other way to do it is to have data centers powered by energy sources before it gets to the grid. And that way you can keep the grid delivering the power to the homes and the businesses and the offices, and give the data center power separately. But I think it is a challenge for a democracy. It's a challenge for a federated society where there are state, federal, and local rules, because local ordinances often play a
Mm-hmm.
very large role in the delivery of the rules under which these facilities have to be built. But uh, I know that there are, I know Reliance is building big data centers. I know Yoda is
Yes.
building big data centers. I know that there are lots of innovative companies that are finding creative solutions that in India that benefit the sum total of AI capability without pulling away power from its people.
Uh, Thank you so much, first and foremost, Andrew, for going ahead and acknowledging the fact that we make fabulous engineers as far as India is concerned in terms of the sheer talent. I just wanted to, before I move on to the global AI map aspect is concerned, I wanted to ask you, you would have heard that there is a lot of backing by the government as far as the policy is concerned. You already have offices. Like you mentioned, you're planning to double them or triple them by 2026. I wanted to understand, how do you feel about that, where the government is genuinely working as far as making those policies are concerned? How do you feel about that? Does that give you a lot of confidence? What does that
It does.
do for Cerebras?
I don't think it's just that you've got world-class entrepreneurs and engineers. You have in India some of the great universities in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have a K through 12 education system that will continue to make world-class engineers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important in the AI battle because the two things we are short of right now is power and engineers.
Yes.
And so both of these are opportunities for India uh, to take the mantle and to lead.
Mm-hmm.
I think the policies of the existing government, I think, have facilitated certainly our expansion in India. I think the challenges the U.S. is having with China have made
Mm-hmm.
India uh, have benefited India a great deal. In I think I'm not an advocate of high tariffs. I
Mm-hmm.
think uh, those certainly don't help the small company like us. Um,
Yeah.
um, but I think, look, as one of the U.S.'s meaningful allies, I think, and close trading partner, I think the policies that are in place have helped facilitate our expansion. And if I look around the sector, every meaningful company in our category has a large position in India.
Wow, that is
Right?
fascinating. Yeah, that's a great insight,
AMD has a
Andrew.
huge AMD, NVIDIA. Right? I mean,
Mm,
all our competitors have enormous engineering presences in India.
mm.
And I think it's very difficult right now to build a worldwide organization without a meaningful presence in India.
Wow, wonderfully put, Andrew. This, of course, brings me to India's strategic role. Thank you for leading me perfectly as far as that segue is concerned. In Cerebras's global AI map, Cerebras already has a strong presence, as I've mentioned, with its main office in Bengaluru and a growing team in Hyderabad. India has emerged as a critical market, Andrew, for AI infrastructure, not just because of cost advantages, but also because of its depth in research talent. We have shed light on that. The point is, how do you see Cerebras leveraging India's ecosystem, both as a base for innovation and as a launchpad for sovereign, energy efficient AI infrastructure?
So one of our fastest growing sectors is our dev tier,
Mhm.
and that is about a third from India right now.
Wow.
And so what is happening is the young engineers in India are embracing AI. They are
Mhm.
innovating on AI, and they are looking for the fastest inference possible. And that only comes from Cerebras. I think uh, the way to leverage this is to continue to feed innovation compute, right?
Mm.
In
Mm.
innovation innovation grows and thrives when it's fueled by compute.
Sure.
And as we continue to bring more and more blisteringly fast compute to this entrepreneurial appetite, to the appetite for AI in India, I think these entrepreneurs will help change the Indian economy. And I
Wow.
think that's sort of the way it goes, is that the major changes uh, all happen from the young into the ecosystem.
Hmm.
Right. It's very hard to change from the top, from the embedded, from the ossified. Instead, they're happening from sort of the young, talented engineers who are seeing opportunity and whose ideas take shape when one adds fast AI. And so we have been in conversations with the Indian government. We see lots of opportunity to be a partner, to deliver compute to leading universities, not just to individual developers, but to
Hmm.
universities and to the government itself. I think all our governments, the US's government, the Canadian government, all the European governments, the Indian government can use a little bit of improved efficiency. And so I think there are lots of opportunities uh, to help AI
Hmm.
improve society. And that's one of the most exciting things about being in the space is that this has the potential, and our technology is a cornerstone in that of making a meaningful societal difference.
And you said it with such ease, Andrew. I like that. The fact that, yes, it is a cornerstone. And we are very, very excited in terms of the fact that these conversations, well, convert really quickly for Cerberus to come in a big way, which actually brings me to this sovereign compute and the opportunity with the India AI mission, Andrew, rolling out the government backing sovereign AI infrastructure. There's a growing push for air gapped, energy efficient compute clusters built on Indian soil. Do you see a future where Cerebras partners with, let's say, as you mentioned already, institutes and some private players? But as far as AI data centers, not just for compliance, but as part of India's energy efficient compute strategy, what would it take for India to become a serious node in your global AI map?
Oh, I think they're front and center in our mind right now. I
Mm-hmm.
think we have discussions with partners every day. I think our current funding puts us in a position to be seeking extraordinary expansion.
Sure.
I think whether the facility is air gapped, whether it meets the government or some other regulatory bodies requirements, those are all things that are pretty easy to work out.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we're looking for are partners who will be in this for the long run with us. We are a long run company. We are not looking for quick turnarounds. We're looking to enter a market and be there for decades and to be a meaningful player. When we entered the Canadian market, we engaged with leading universities. We gave lectures there. We took interns. We became a member of the community,
Nice.
and we are looking to do the same in India and to find partners who can help us.
Wonderful. Andrew, I have to ask you this. The fact that, it looks very exciting, the road ahead, with the funding there, of course, the fact that you have some wonderful plans moving forward, and especially for India. I'm going to be a little selfish for sure, and I am going to ask you from the Indian standpoint, which is there is going to be hiring. You had mentioned that a little earlier. I would love for you to maybe share that, Andrew, with a lot of the people, the viewers who are watching, a lot of the people who could probably be a part of the Cerebrus journey moving forward. As you said, there are plans and big ones in the upcoming years.
Sure, we are uh, with our headquarters in Bangalore and our growing office in Hyderabad, we are looking for extraordinary engineers. We're looking for kernel engineers. We're looking for compiler engineers. We are looking for talented individuals who like using their engineering skills to solve really hard problems. And
Nice.
I think uh, that is we have a preference for people who began coding when they were young
Hmm.
and enjoy it and find sort of passion and satisfaction in writing code, because those are the people we are.
Nice.
And I think we're eager to meet you. I think you can find us online and the specific roles we're looking for at our website, Cerebras.ai. Um, but I think we are eager to meet talented engineers, and some would, if you'd like to come and join us and help change the landscape of AI. But others, if you're building your own thing,
Hmm.
we'd like to meet you and see if we can find a way for you to benefit and your ideas to benefit from the fastest inference in the world, and that's what we provide.
Wow, Andrew, that is definitely very encouraging. And I'm sure a lot of the people who are watching right now would be so excited and positive about, yes, being a part of Cerebrus's footprint, which is only going to be growing in a big way in India. And they're going to be definitely looking forward for that opportunity. A final message, Andrew, maybe that you would like to give to all the people here in India, the fact that it's a huge milestone for Cerebrus. We, of course, are waiting for a bigger and a much more brilliant presence of Cerebrus here in India. Well, a message that you'd like to give.
We're waiting for that too. Nothing would make us happier. I think uh, I think that one of the things I've learned over the years of being an entrepreneur is that big ideas come from all over, and I think the willingness and the passion to follow your ideas, to build things, whether they're with AI or with any other form of software or hardware or other. I think it's a great joy to see what you've built take shape, and if we can play a small part of that in the Indian economy, we would be honored.
Wonderfully put. Andrew, truly, thank you for being on the show, for being on front page. And we are definitely very, very excited, stoked, and looking forward for your presence and a big footprint here in India. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Andrew, and wishing you
Thank you for
all of the
having me.
best.
Thank you.
True pleasure. Well, I was, of course, Andrew Feldman. And yes, he is, of course, also waiting for making his presence felt in India. But this isn't just about funding, this is about rewriting the global compute map. Cerebrus is betting that the future of AI won't be decided by who trains the biggest model, but by who runs it cheaper, faster, smarter, and more sovereignly. And for that, India might just be the new center of gravity. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we come to an end on front page. And of course, it is such a wonderful, positive note that we are ending on today on front page on AIM Network, which is, of course, India's most definitive media organization and voice on everything AI and technology. Front page is powered by MachineCon 2025, and it is India's invite only residential GCC summit, brought to you exclusively by AIM Network. Well, till we meet again on front page, I have to say this: think AI, think Cerebrus, think sovereignty, think AIM.